hit restart record now. So you're good to go.
Cool. All right, everybody, welcome to a Security Guild meeting. We've got Christopher Murray in the house. He's going to talk about email with mail in a box. I'm really excited. Tons of stuff to learn. We got a demo. We got slides. We got everything you could possibly want. Mahir officially runs Security Guild. He is 35,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean right now on his way back, so he could not introduce, so he asked me to fill in for him. So, Chris, whenever you're ready.
All right. So yeah, like Clymer said, we're going to do email with mail in a box today, and we'll just get started. So this is me. Since I turned my camera off, I work in the Marvel.net core squad. Let's get through these slides. So we use email every day, but what actually is email? It's not something I ever really covered in school. I don't care about that. But it's something that we use a lot. So I decided last month I wanted to figure it out and set up my own mail server, and I did it, and it was sort of a nightmare. I got all the pieces in place, actually pretty much all the pieces that Mail in the Box does for you, and then I decided, screw it, I don't want to deal with maintaining this. Mail in the Box does automatic updates, but here's what I learned. So history's a little murky. Faxes were sort of like early email, but not really. Please don't show again. We had the ARPANET, which is like the precursor to the modern internet. 1971, Ray Tomlinson sent the first username at host name message. When DNS became a thing, they tacked domain on the end of that, like our email addresses today. Smithsonian said a guy named Shivya Iyer invented email, but then there was all this controversy over it. It's pretty terrible. It's pretty clear that it's just like something that's evolved over time, doesn't really have like a clear inventor. So diagrams is pretty complicated, so we're just going to break it down a little bit. So this first box here, we have the mail user agent, which is like your client. It's like Outlook or like Thunderbird. Gmail, like webmail clients, also sort of fall into this category. They're sort of a weird hybrid because sometimes they live on the same server as the other components, but for the purposes of this, we'll just think of like it as like Outlook. And then we have the mail transfer agent. So what's happening is the mail user agent is submitting the message to the mail transfer agents like Postfix or Exim or SendMail. There's technically another piece in here called the mail submission agent. Postfix actually does both things. We're going to be using Postfix with mail in a box. You could have a separate one. All these things have both unsecured and secured ports. Unsecured port for submission is like port 25. Port 465 would be the secured port. And then 587 would be if you're using that like mail submission agent. We also have, these things communicate with the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP. It's a relatively simple protocol that sends the mail from the user agent to the transfer agent. So then we have the internet. It's kind of magic. Once it hits the MTA, it communicates across the internet to the destination MTA. So there's some queuing going on. There's a couple different configurations you can do here. You can either have queuing or not have queuing. A lot of them do have queuing. It'll go through the internet through like, firewalls, spam, virus blockers until it finally hits the destination server. And then at the destination server, the MTA, like Postfix, is going to receive the mail again. And then we have a mail delivery agent. In this case, it's going to be Dovecot, which is a software program which is responsible for delivering that message to a local mailbox for storage. That mailbox could be like a file. It could be like a database. It could be a whole lot of things. In this particular case, I believe it's a SQLite database that it ends up using at the end of the day. There's a protocol called LMTP, the Local Mail Transfer Protocol, which is also Dovecot, which is actually responsible for that delivery. And then we get to like, well, how do I read my email? So we have POP and IMAP are two protocols you've probably seen thrown around. We have IMAP, the Internet Message Access Protocol, which is the more modern protocol. The mailbox is managed on the server. It's like the canonical place where everything is. It gets sent to the server. Your mail client fetches down copies. You delete them from your client. They get deleted on the server, etc. Post Office Protocol, POP. POP3 now is the more legacy protocol. It's a lot more like a mailbox. It just sort of like gets delivered to your client and then it stays there and that's where it lives. If in POP3, there is the opportunity to be like, hey, I actually want to leave a copy on the server. You have to tell it to do that. But I don't know. If you didn't have like a really good reason to use POP, you should probably use IMAP. And then you have webmail. And webmail is like, Gmail or like Outlook 365 or something where like there's like this client in a browser that lives on a server. It might even be the same server where the actual postfix is running. Could be in some deployments, could be running its own internal server to talk to that remote POP and IMAP server. It doesn't really matter. It's just like more of like a hybrid solution. And then you have like stuff like we use like if you're using like Exchange, you have like ActiveSync and like more like proprietary things like that. But for interoperability, like POP and IMAP are like sort of like the standards for like most clients. All right. And Dovecot, the one that we're going to be talking about, it acts as the server for both POP and IMAP. Mail-in-a-Box also provides an ActiveSync endpoint and a couple other, I think it provides a couple other ones too. It provides like calendar and stuff like that, but we're not going to really cover that too much. And then we have, spam and such. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that gets baked in, and I'm covering the things that Mail-in-a-Box does for you, which is a lot of the stuff that you'd want to do. So we have like Apache Spam Assassin. So Spam Assassin is a mail filter that's basically applied to mail that Postfix receives to check whether it's spam. Uses a whole bunch of different methods, like banned server IPs, banned addresses, like Bayesian analysis of like the content of the message. It'll like learn over time. It's a pretty cool piece of software. We also have gray listing. Gray listing is basically what you're doing is you're checking whether mail's from like a new triplet of like IP address, sender, and recipient. And if so, it temporarily rejects the message for like 5 minutes. This is really good at deterring spammers because they won't retry the message, but like legitimate addresses will. And once they get added, they won't have any more trouble getting through. There's also like an IP whitelist. So like the vast majority of email that like comes from legitimate sources won't get blocked automatically, and that gets upgraded. Postgray is the one that Mail-in-a-Box uses. It's just like a policy applied at the postfix level that does this for you. We also have the sender policy framework. So they use DNS quite a bit to basically allow mail clients to check whether or not the messages are legit. So SPF and DKIM, domain keys identified mail, are two ways to do that. So SPF basically is a text DNS record that has like a list of hosts that are allowed to send mail from a certain address. DKIM is a DNS record that has a public key in it that you can use to check a digital signature for the message. So both of those things are like, is this legit? Does it come from the right place? Because DNS records are only really supposed to be configured by the person who owns the domain. And then we have DMARC, which is something that basically tells recipients what to do if either of those things don't pass. Also done by DNS, also provides reporting back. So we have the ability to be like, okay, I am a domain, I got spam, what do I do with it? Should I delete it? Should I like look at it? I don't really know. Well, you can look it up and you'll just automatically know what to do, and then you can tell the actual domain, hey, I got spam that looks like it's from you. And finally, we have DNSSEC, Domain Name System Security Extensions. This is a mechanism used to make sure that DNS records themselves haven't been spoofed, since that would sort of negate the three previous things entirely. It really depends on your domain registrar, like whether or not you can use it. So those are all the different pieces of the basically that Mail-in-a-Box provides that are going to help prevent like spam and like spoofing and those sorts of things. It's kind of nice you're just going to get all that for free. And then let's move on to Mail-in-a-Box. So what is Mail-in-a-Box? It's what it says on the box. It's an easy to deploy, comprehensive mail server solution. It has all the things we just covered and some more things that we're not going to cover. It's 100% free. It's really open. They have a really great site that tells you like, even like the setup process tells you like what each thing is doing. Their admin page, which you're going to take a look at, is pretty awesome, explaining like what each thing is. It's not very customizable. So if you're looking for a solution that like you're like a power user and you want to like add in all these extra filters and stuff, you're kind of out of luck, because the bash script that like actually updates the server doesn't really like to be modified. The fact that I did it on AWS is actually not even like a recommended path. They want you to use like DigitalOcean, maybe like Amazon Lightsail, although it's fairly new. I don't think they've updated their docs. But basically they want the box itself to do its own DNS and stuff, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it, especially since I want to run my own site on my domain and run my mail server. Mail in the Box really likes to glob onto everything. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to walk you through the steps that you do to set up Mail in the Box, and it's pretty trivial. So I did a bunch of pre-work for this because spinning up instances and stuff is boring, but I will take you through what you actually have to do. So which is the instance we're looking at? So we're looking at this one. So the first thing we'd do is we'd set up a new instance. So we'd go to like instances here, and we'd say like launch instance needs to be like an Ubuntu 14.04 instance, for example. This is like my actual mail server. These are like just two examples that I set up. And the security group you're going to want is like one that has all the mail things open. So we don't need to run a firewall really on the server. So if you look at the inbound rules, I just sort of like whitelisted a lot of the ports that we'd use for the mail server, that especially like Dovecot and stuff like that. And it has like admin interfaces that are on port 80. So do that, allocate a new Elastic IP. So we do that and we associate it with the instance. So this is our Elastic IP. It's going to be our permanent public IP address that we're going to use to set up our DNS records. And you're going to want to write that down. So I took notes here. This is for a server I already set up, but I allocated this address and I wrote it down, 341.72149. And then I'm going to SSH to my server. So I have my public key here. This image uses Ubuntu as the name, and then I'm just going to do @IP address. So move that to the top. And we're in. That's good. The next thing we do is we'd modify etc hosts to reflect the domain we want to use. So I just added mail.whereisthecloud right here. And then we're going to modify etc host name, because in Ubuntu that's what's actually going to reflect the host name. We're going to dump that in there too. So we've done that. Now I would reboot the machine. So I already did that. I'd reboot the machine just so Ubuntu picks up the host name. I don't have to deal with any weirdness that's going on there. And then I'm going to go to Route 53. So if you don't know what Route 53 is Amazon's DNS. And you probably have seen it because we used Huddle. But if you go to hosted zones, what we're going to want to do is create a new hosted zone. So we click create hosted zone, we type in my domain. I already did one for where is the cloud and what is the cloud. And let's look at where is the cloud. And what it's going to create for you is it's going to create an NS record and a SOA record. And what you really care about is this NS record. And what these are the name servers for where is the cloud. Next step here is to go to your registrar, which mine is Namecheap, and find your domain. And you're going to want to copy and paste those name servers into custom DNS. This is going to vary via registrar, and your mileage may vary, but this is pretty easy on Namecheap. You just do it here. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is a little weird. I'm actually going to go back to the presentation to get the URL. But if you go to this this weird Amazon address, basically you have to request to remove email sending limitations. Amazon doesn't want spammers to just like set up instances that are gonna just send a million emails from Amazon addresses and get blacklisted. So you have to specifically request it. It's super easy. You just say like, I'm setting up a personal mail server. You also want to put in your Elastic IPs here so that you can set up your reverse DNS here, and you want to set up you want to make sure that anti-spam organizations know that you're an email server and you're not going to be blacklisted. So it's super easy. It doesn't take long. I got a response within like an hour, so that was pretty good. Then you're going to go back to Route 53, and you're going to set up some more records. So you need 3 records. You need this. You don't need this A record here, especially if you're hosting your site, like your website on a different server. You probably don't want to do this, but I just did it for the purposes of this. I set up an A record for where's the cloud to point to that Elastic IP that we wrote down before. And then I added an MX record. So what does the MX record do? It's the mail exchange record. Basically what this is saying is like mail for where is the .cloud should go to the mail.whereisthe.cloud server. And this 10 here is just like a priority number. So it's a preference number. Lower is better. 10 seem to be like the standard, so I just use that. You can probably set these TTLs higher after you've already figured this out, but I just left them at the default because this is a demo. And then finally, you want to set an A record for mail.whereisthe.cloud to say like request to this domain will resolve to this IP address. So the next thing you're going to do is go to your box and you're going to run the script. So let me copy the script in. This is like actually how you do it too. This isn't like some BS thing. This is like from their site. Copy that and we're going to run it. This does take like a non-trivial amount of time. You don't have to do much, but like right now it's installing Git. It's going to just install the dependencies it needs, which is pretty sweet. It's literally one command. And while that's going, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll show you like a more fully set up site so that you can get some idea of what it would look like. So this is my personal mail server. If I just go to this admin page, let me reload it. That's not what I wanted. Oh, well, it already did that. All right, so let's do this. I'll show you that in a second. So we've got mailbox installation. You should only install this, a brand new blah, 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 blah. Okay. Email address. I don't want mail.whereisthecloud because that's lame, so I'm going to do chris@whereisthe.cloud and enter. They suggest box as the host name. I don't want that either. I want mail.whereisthecloud. And it's going to keep going. So that's going to keep going. The cool thing about this page, the external DNS page, is like because we're configuring our own DNS, they tell you exactly what you have to do, which is pretty awesome. They want you to like set up your mail in a box to be its own DNS server. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to have control over it. So what's nice is it shows you required fields with like an explanation of what each thing does. And then it shows recommended fields with an explanation of what those things are. And then it even shows like optional fields. So like if you have DNSSEC or stuff that like, isn't 100% set up. You don't have to do all of these. You should do the ones that say required. And the nice thing is that you go to this. All right, let's go back to this. We're just going to pick our time zone. Going to Eastern time. Let that keep going. The nice thing about this is it also does status checks for you. So we're in here now. This is my personal mail server. Everything looks good. This is all green. Some of this stuff doesn't matter, like firewall is disabled, don't care because I'm using security group. The glue records, I don't care because I'm using external DNS. So this is good. It also allows us to provision our own TLS certificates with Let's Encrypt. So I have them provisioned for these three things. It'll notify you by email when you have like a problem. So it does like system status checks. Let's see if I can actually log into .com/mail. All right, so log in here. I don't know if I have any status checks available to check. Log in. And yeah, so let's see, what's this one? Yeah, so occasionally Amazon flakes out, or the status check flakes out and says reverse DNS isn't currently not set. It's not true, this has never actually happened, but if it did, it'd be nice to know about it. Let's see what this one is, but it's the same thing. Yeah, let's see. This one, all right, so this was like system updates were needed on the box. It'll actually check that for you, which is cool. And then looks like I resolved it. I must have done it today when I was playing around earlier. So yeah, this looks like it's just about done. So if we look at see what it's doing, let's see, it's done everything we talked about. So install the packages, set up, oh, you can do backups too. It's creating a SSH key for that. Creating an SSL certificate, that was that. Well, you'll see in a minute, there's like an initial unsecured self-signed SSL certificate. It's installing the DNSSEC signing keys, postfix, dovecot, OpenDKM, OpenDMARC, Spam Assassin. Like this is all non-interactive. It's pretty awesome. It's creating the SQLite DB. It should be done in like a second. This is that active sync. Like I was saying, it's setting that up. The system management daemon is the one that the system status checks. It'll do that. It allows you to like reboot the box too, and it does new version checks if you opt in. So my other domain I do, if I clicked this, it would automatically phone home. Oh no, what happened? I did this like 4 times today. Let's see. Requirement already up to date. Looks like there was a HTTP problem doing it. That's interesting. Let's see if I run it again, if it'll just figure itself out. Okay. Killing me here. Where's the cloud? Okay. Yeah, it should skip all that other stuff, I think, except for the updating system packages. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal because I already set this up. So anyway, let's imagine that isn't going to work probably. If you were to go to this one that I just set up, which is like almost fully set up, access fine. /admin. Oh, that's the one I just did. Let's do what is the cloud. Okay, so it says like not secure. We just hit proceed. That's fine because we're going to fix it in a second. What is the .cloud? Put in our password. So this one's going to be a little bit more raw. It's like more pissed at me because there's way more things wrong with the box. But the first thing I'd probably want to do is I'd want to go here and I just click provision. I'll click agree and try again because I'm not going to read the terms of service. And then this is going to go in 60 seconds. It'll be all set and we'll get a nice green bar here. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I can send mail to and from this server that I set up right now. This was set up like 10 minutes before this presentation started, so it's not like it's really any different than what this is going to be when it's done. Just do that, log in, or write a message to my Gmail account. Test, and I'll click send message. And you don't have to use this. This is Roundcube, a webmail interface, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I use mail clients almost exclusively. Gmail.com, see if we got it. Yeah, look at that, we got it. We can reply. Nope, that was back apparently. I don't know how to use Gmail. Reply. Hello. That. Good work, Firefox. Send. We'll go back here and we'll just refresh it. We should have already received it, and we did. So yeah, that is setting up your own mail server with Mail in a Box. It's super easy, except for like weird HTTP problem we had. Isn't a huge deal. And I guess we have like 5 minutes for questions. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll share my face for now. All right, there's me.
We got at least one question in the sidebar.
I see that from Luke. The request to remove email limitations only for large amounts of email. You know that email limit is, so the person will kind of hit that. That was something I wrestled with a bit too. I don't know what the limits are. I didn't even really look into it that much. I was just like, yeah, I don't really want any limits, especially like, say I set up like an account for my girlfriend, or say I'm like doing some like testing or something and I get blacklisted. I don't want to really deal with that, so I just did it. The fact that you need the reverse DNS anyway, and you have to do it through that page means that I would just do the request. I don't think it's a huge deal. It doesn't cost anything extra or anything like that. Any other questions about anything? I mean, protocols and stuff, Mail in a Box in general. Happy to answer anything.
I'm curious, so have you been using this, like, other than the demo, have you been using this yourself for a little while?
Yeah, I have. I've been using it. I set it up I set up my own mail server with the full stack over Thanksgiving, which is a nightmare. And then I like sort of left it for a while. And now I've started transitioning mail over to, I've had Chris at deflumery.com for a long time, but I had it like on a hosted thing and I didn't use it that much. It was like something just sort of like lived in my resume and forwarded to Gmail. And I've started to use it a lot more. My goal is to like transition all my mail off of Gmail. Just kind of a big ask since I have like hundreds of accounts that I would have to migrate, but it's like a goal for like the next year to slowly migrate myself off. Seems kind of dumb in retrospect because I use like Android phones, but like who knows? Maybe I'll be able to like at least keep email private. I'm not 100% sure.
And is it, I assume, like, has it been fairly low overhead to just keep things up and running?
Oh, it's super easy. They push updates. So if I don't think mail.deflumery.com needs one right now. /admin. But if it needed an update, it would show it. It'd actually send me an email, and then it would show up in the sidebar here, or like it would show up here. And then I would just SSH to the box and run that bash script again, and it just does it. My setup's a little bit more complicated because I wanted to put Linux and I can show you in EC2. So I wanted to put, go to volumes. I wanted to put my OS and my mail on different volumes. So I did that. Mail in a Box really doesn't like it if you do anything like that. So I had to like modify some configuration files and add some symlinks and stuff like that to really make it work. You can also set up automated backup to S3, which is kind of nice. I also keep stuff on like encrypted volumes, and I would do the same thing in S3, and then I might even encrypt it like at the file system level, like not the way Amazon does it. But I haven't like dealt with it. There's not enough stuff on there yet that I really care. One thing that I wish it did have, and I don't know if they're planning on adding it, is I sort of wish it had two-factor auth. It doesn't, but also as long as I use a strong password, I'm not super concerned about it anyway, because I'm not really going to use this password anywhere else. So yeah, it's very low maintenance. I maybe SSH into the box like once a month, and I could probably do it with a cron script if I really wanted to, but I like doing it manually for now.
Thanks.
Yep. Cool. Well, if nobody has any other questions, I think we're good. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you guys listening to me. If you have any other questions after, feel free to hit me up. If you decide to do this yourself and you're running into problems, also feel free to hit me up. I'll share the slides in the Security Guild. They have the instructions in the last 2 slides. Pretty detailed if you want to try this out yourself.
Yeah, I'll add to that really quick. If one of the people in Bo Jackson is willing to grab that recording and send it to me or put it on Agile Server or whatever, I can get it uploaded to that sync page, and that'll have instructions. If anybody has, yeah, thanks, guys. If anybody has ideas for another Security Guild talk, if there's something you want to talk about, if there's something you want somebody else to talk about, hit me up, hit me here up, and we'll try and make it happen. The next talk that we will have is probably about the bug bounty or bug crowd bounty program. So look forward to that invite coming out soon.
Cool. All right. I'll see you guys later.